commercial use, and that is something that you can litigate against, and that constitutes an infringement of his rights. Because what we see in newspapers especially is that they don't have fair use. You have to use someone's work fairly.
Right.
Now, yes, if you're reviewing something, be it art or be it comedy, what you have to ensure is that you do it fairly, so that you don't hurt someone's rights. Same thing with syndication that you have. I know Dawn is one of the few newspapers that does this properly, is that they take syndication from international papers. A lot of big newspapers in Pakistan, they don't do that.
They don't actually.
Yes.
Now, I'd like to go to Lahore with this question to Farooq Saab. Farooq Saab, there is a really huge lack of this practice in Pakistan, that if you use some material that somebody else has actually created, particularly in the print media, very few people tend to give credit to them. Can you name some landmark cases perhaps where such a case came to light and the applicant actually won, who thought that his material has been misused?
There are several landmark cases. The most important, and I think which would resonate in people's memory, was the unauthorized publication of the book of Henry Kissinger, who was a foreign minister of United States in General Ziaul Haq's time. This book was published in Pakistan without permission, and Mr. Henry Kissinger had to fly into Pakistan and seek help from General Ziaul Haq to have this stopped. This is not just, I mean, this is a landmark case. The unfortunate situation is that people use other people's music, if it's a cafe, if it is a hotel or a restaurant, they don't seek permission, they don't pay royalties for using music. So the end sum is that our artists, our people who create things, when they are no more on the horizon and they are no more popular, they are unable to earn anything out of the works which they have done in their best days. So this is not the case in the West. If you see, Michael Jackson is no more on the scene, but a stream of income is flowing through the royalties that he is earning. Elvis Presley has died so many years ago, but there is a foundation which is reaping the benefit of his works. So this situation is not working in Pakistan, and people, but I'm again emphasizing that intellectual property rights is beyond copyrights and beyond artistic, literary and musical works.
Of course.
Intellectual property rights also includes other facets of rights of people, which includes inventions. If we need to develop, we need to work on research, and we need to protect the rights of those people who are researching. We need to protect the brands.
All right. Well,
things are changing, though.
Yes.
I mean, when you're talking about music, I think it would have been unheard of for two musicians to go into court, say 10 years ago. But what we're seeing now is that when bands are splitting, people are going into court. Now, a lot of people would look down upon that, but we see that as a positive. People are recognizing the fact that if I create some music, that belongs to me, and that's something which we really need to be proud of. The fact that it's always looked down upon, you're going to court, but hey, that's a good thing.
For example, if now let's talk about the branding. For example, the big multinational companies are very gung ho about protecting their name, their brands,
absolutely,
their own
intellectual property rights. Yet you have a lot of these cable channels, which are
running
broadcasting
or
pirated movies, or even channels that they're not really or one person
sponsored by.
Thank you. Sponsored by these big companies.
True. What's happening now is that before, especially with regards to movies, because it was happening in a void. Now you stop all the DVDs and CDs from coming into Pakistan, but then what do? I mean, you and I both buy pirated DVDs because we don't have an avenue of buying them.
Do you?
I do.
I'll be honest. I do.
I never do.
But what is happening now is that there's an avenue. There's a really wonderful company, Box Office, which is bringing a few new movies in. And what they found out was they bought a few new movies, and they were on the TV channels, on the cable channels.
Yes.
And we've gone into court, and that's something that we actually worked on, and we got an infringement suit against them, and the court held that they could not do so. But the thing is, you have to have a lot of business acumen, and you have to invest in that, in your legal costs. To do that in Pakistan, which unfortunately a lot of people cannot do. They can't just run after court. But thankfully, like, there are few multinationals which are working on that. But when you're talking about brands, I mean, one thing I want to hit is that we underestimate how important now the importance of a brand. Google, the brand, is worth $86 billion. Just the name, nothing else. No facilities, nothing. Just the name.
Is that realizable?
It's realizable when they're selling it, because if the company is sold, the market capitalization of the company, that $86 billion is part of that name. Now, you know.
All right. Well, I want to thank all of you for at least coming here and talking. I think it's really important for us to start a discussion, debates. People become more and more aware about this. Farooq in Islamabad, thank you for joining us.
In Lahore.
In Lahore, sorry.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for joining us in Breakfast at Dawn. Janara, Ali, thank you so much. Now it's time for us to get into our next top story. Today is Malaria Day as well, and we're going to be talking about that. But that will be after a very short break. Please stay with us.